Hello everyone and welcome back to Beneath the Lift Tower. My name is Charles McGilvray and as always I'm joined by Jess Kebble and Simon Stacey. We're a fans podcast by fans of Northampton Saints for fans. How are you both doing?
Hey mate, good,
Good,
thank you.
That was a bit of a cracker, wasn't it?
Yeah, getting better.
Indeed.
That was nuts, wasn't it?
Yeah, we haven't had a game like that for so long. That reminds me of some of the games we've had, sort of almost during the Malander era where we would win last minute. We had loads of them. We seem to be a bit better now, but we don't have so many tight games, or we win them late, but not quite to the death like that. That was, oh my God, that was incredible.
I was 2 points off as well. Said 35, 33. 32, sorry.
Yeah. We were all pretty much there.
Yeah, I didn't actually think deep down until I saw their team. They wasn't as strong as I thought they could be. I did, I was a bit worried, but when we started 19-0, I was like, bloody hell, what's going on here? Especially with that weather, because I was worried that the weather played straight into their hands. But obviously the pitch wasn't as wet as we thought it was going to be.
No, they'd had the,
wasn't it?
I think they'd had the cover on, and then
and the heat.
Yeah, there's one of the in the St. Sinners group. There's a steward in there who posted a photo when he turned up for work on the day of the game, but it was still on. So they'd obviously had it on until sort of like the last possible moment. We'd had a bit of rain, hadn't we, like earlier in the afternoon? But yeah, obviously not enough to really affect things too badly. So we got kind of lucky there.
Yeah, no, it was one hell of a start.
Yeah.
No, it's been a bit of an issue, hasn't it? Starting games and hitting the ground running, etc. But I mean, this was quite the opposite. Like we played phenomenally well for the first 20 minutes. We were winning everything. We were in their face. We were moving the ball really nicely, scoring points, and then almost after the 20th minute, we sort of stopped playing. I mean, admittedly, Bath started to impose themselves on the game, but we struggled almost from the 20 minutes onward.
You knew it was coming though, didn't you? That's the thing. I know we went 19-0 up. I was like, they're going to score in a minute. You just know it. And then 1, then 2. Finn Russell, Finn Russell there. He's going to pull the strings, isn't he? I didn't think he had
knew
that.
they were going to turn it on at some point.
He didn't have that good game.
That first 40 minutes, not the second 40 minutes. He kind of dragged them back into it in the second 40, but he was overwhelmingly outclassed by Smith in that first 40 minutes in particular. Some of the things Finn Smith was doing was just, for the whole game, was just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm sure we'll come back onto him. But I mean, we talk. I think you mentioned last week about Finn Russell being, and it's still true, he's the best 10 in the world, but he wasn't in the races for the first half. I felt like he was good with ball in hand. He's a good 10 for that as well. Like, as much as our Finn is really good with kind of offloading the ball, but I don't know what happened to his kicking game in that first half. I mean, everything he kicked was, particularly kicks like into touch, where some of them were trash. So it just came off the wrong part of his foot a couple of times, didn't they? But
I sort of thought, other than the first 20 minutes where we were just steamrolling them and they weren't in the game at all, like we were running over them completely. Once their forwards got parity / basically on top, in my view, for large parts, they he orchestrated that team to do that job. Bath came with. Well, they have a 7-1 split on the bench.
Yeah, 7-1, and then they lose Muir like in the first 20 minutes, and then you're like, okay, now you're playing a flanker on the wing.
Yeah, I was convinced I was seeing things. I said to my mum, I was like, have I missed something, or is that a forward for a back? And she went, yeah. I was like, what is happening? Because I had not paid that much attention to their team news, obviously. And then I was on Twitter at half time and someone said the 7-1 split. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And they came with that mindset, that game plan. And I thought Finn Russell, to be fair to him, just played that game. He put them on in the right places. I thought his out kicking hand, their tactical kicking was a lot better than ours to some extent. Yeah. And I thought it got them in the right positions. And after that first 20-minute period, I mean, our defence was heroic. And I was saying to the bloke next to me, like, this can't carry on. we can't like keep coming with these enormous, amazing last-ditch defensive moments to save us. Like that is it's gonna break eventually, you know. But because like the defense in that first sort of that first 20 of the second half, Jesus, it had to put in a lot of work. And some of the moments of sort of pure brilliance, you know, bang someone into touch, or you know when Finn Smith absolutely annihilated.
Reed.
It was Miles Reed, and I, like I said, I listened to the ref link, but after the tackle, you can turn the channels over, so I turned it on, and you could hear like the TNT commentary. I think it was Flats, and he was like, you know, nobody treats Miles Reed like that. Like that,
Yeah.
it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Like he said, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Russell was bad. I just think he wasn't. I don't think he was at the highest level that we know he can reach, that we've seen him reach, definitely.
I think that was because of the team they had, wasn't it? Because
no, there's definitely a part of it. But I also think if you're thinking like not thinking about Finn Russell, but thinking about Finn Smith and trying to get himself obviously into that England team, there's no better marker to put down than getting man of the match when you're against Finn Russell, is there? Really?
It's a joke if he doesn't get picked ahead of Smith, because Smith's been awful the last few weeks. But he won't, because he's the.
I don't necessarily think he should get picked ahead of Marcus Smith specifically. He should be the backup 10 at a minimum.
I think he's definitely
got to pull the trigger.
He's got to solidified. He's got to solidify himself as the bench pick over Ford, at least in my view. Just with that performance alone. I mean, some of the things he was doing was ridiculous. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, he was. No, that's not what I was saying. Wasn't to diminish Smith. I thought Smith was.
Oh God, no, yeah,
phenomenal. But I just thought Russell basically did the function that he was asked to do. And yes, he
needed to do. He did what he needed to do, didn't he? Really.
Like
I always felt they were going to come back though. Like I know we got like a 19-point lead, but I was like, that won't stick. I never ever thought that would stick. I felt like Bath were going to show up at some stage, and they obviously did. It was a good defensive effort, although I must say there were a couple of tries in there that we did let them get too easy. So there's still a few things to kind of.
They sort of came with that power game.
Work on, but
once they got to the 5-metre line, you sort of thought this is inevitable now. And I did think when we were one score up, I thought they've got all the momentum. You know, it's going to take a real effort to win this. And then sort of it all sort of unfolded as it did. But I just thought, you know, it's a hell of a performance. You know, that first 20 minutes, you're going through some of the tries. That sense. The one that stands out for me, since it was the sensational ram effort. That play where we sweep the opposite wing around the arc to give him to create the overlap. It's normally slide time on that arm, but obviously it was Ram on this time, right? And he had two on his outside, and he went, "I'm going to take a right foot step here and head in field." At that moment, he had to finish, because when you've got 2-man overlap on the outside, yes, the defense is coming back, and they could have caught the wingers, etc. But he took it, he gambled, and what a finish! What a that is that arc, that play. That sense, they play it non-stop. It is set piece. We play all the time off the line out, and it's almost undefendable when they play it like that. It was just sensational.
It was an amazing thing. We can't deny. There was so many good tries. I know you're not a massive fan because you call him what was it? Kemeny, because you said he's a what's your phrase?
A luxury player.
Luxury. That's it. Luxury. Not saying he's not good, but you say he's luxury. I think it's more balanced with the 3 we had, because he's always on the wing. Always on the wing waiting for a try.
He's obviously doing a bit like sort of a Mitchell of been out with an injury or been out for a bit and just raring to go, and just because the past 2 games he's been ridiculous. It's just been ridiculous. Like, just agreed. Like, I think it's like the right balance of whether it's Pollock involved at 8 or Augustus, whatever it is. I just feel like he plays off the others so well because they have very different strengths, and so when you've got all 3 of them on the pitch together, you've got a very complete 6, 7, and 8, definitely.
I agree, actually. I thought Kemeny was outstanding. He was one of the players of the match for me. I thought that's the best game he's had for us by quite some distance. Yeah, he finished his try sensationally well. That inside step again and blitz. And that is his strength. Those attacking in those wider channels is really X factor. He is Tom Croft 2.0. And he offers some tremendous options at the line out, because he's a great line option, and he gets a lot of turnovers against the ball on the line out as well. He's great at getting up in there and competing.
Yeah.
But I thought his work rate in defence was what was the difference, which made this performance so much better than previous performance, because he was putting in shots left, right, and centre. Really stood up physically. That's his best game. If he plays like that every week, then he's not a luxury player. He's an outstanding talent. And I think that's hopefully what we'll see from him. Maybe the pennies dropped that the Prem is a different league, and you can't hang around too much on the wing. You've got to get in and amongst it, and when against the ball anyway. But
he was a line out. He was a good line out option, especially when we lost both our locks as well. He literally was every line out throw. Went straight to him, and he literally caught every single one. I think. He lost. Yeah, but it was an insane game, and I don't want to make it controversial, but what's his name, Lawrence's hit on Hendy, that for me straight away.
For me, it's not even his. It's just his whole attitude. It rubbed everyone up the wrong way. It even rubbed up some of their own fans up the wrong way. Like it didn't go well for him. I know people will say, things. I know people say things about being competitive and stuff, but when you've injured a player and you're laughing when they're coming off the pitch, I said you're not putting yourself in a very good position. And
he didn't do it. He didn't intentionally. He physically went in with his shoulder on his shoulder late. He didn't have the ball. So for me, that is a yellow, if not a red card. And I doubt he'll get cited for it because he's an England player. But and then to do the Italian footballer dive when he ran into little Mitchell. Lawrence is built like me. If he can't bounce off Mitchell and go through him without going, and then falling over like he's just, oh my days. Yeah. He's come out on Twitter and kind of apologised, but I don't know what he was apologising for. I don't think it was the hit on Hendy. I think it was for the dive. But that then peed everybody off, but I don't agree with the fans booing. That would really annoyed me. Booing Russell's kick. I didn't. It's G him up, and he was just going to go, right, sod you lot, I'm going to kick this, even if it's a hard kick. You don't boo at the Garden. Yeah. So I thought I was bang out of order.
No, but I did feel like his apology was like the absolute definition of a non-apology. Exactly. One of those was like, I'm sorry if I offended you. I said, no, you offended me. Like, literally, I remember going onto like the Bath page. I was like, I wonder how the Bath supported you. And they were like, I'm really disappointed. And so there was a lot of disappointment. And it reads like I actually got a bollocking from my own team and I have to put something out on social media. I feel like he had words from his own side. Like it wasn't just our fans, like what the hell? Like there'd obviously been some words from his own coaches or some of the backroom staff or whatever. Like this isn't really, there are cameras on you. So when I think it was a dive. I think the blow was like, it was, I'm not saying it doesn't deserve what it got necessarily. I think that's a separate question. But I think it was very much a kind of glancing blow that he didn't get shot in the face. And then just to be on television smirking as he walks off, as Mitchell walks off, it just the whole thing felt icky, and a lot of people felt like it was icky. So
he's literally built like a brick poop house, isn't he? As well. So no offense to Mitchell, he's running at Mitchell. He should absolutely flatten him. Well, to bump into him and then fall back like he'd just been shot.
Well, he didn't. That's not quite what happened, is it? He did bump Mitchell off. Mitchell wasn't at the right angle to make a tackle anyway. He was sort of side on going going backwards. So he bumped him off. He ran 3 or 4 paces and then went clutched his face and dived. I think the two incidents, right, are completely separate. Both incredibly cynical. Yeah. Right? Both pure cynical. The first one, I agree. Right, letter of the law, no arm tackle, late. Yellow card would be my view, right? Referee only gave a penalty. He intentionally went to hurt Hendy.
He did.
I don't mind that one so much, right? It's a violent sport. It's an aggressive sport.
No.
He's not gone at the head. He's not hit his head. He's gone in the shoulder. No, yes, it's a no arms tackle, but it's a yellow card, right?
Yeah, but he's gone at his shoulder that he's literally probably just got a stinger from. And if you listen to the ref link, the physio said, we've got 2 minutes to half time. We'll patch you up at half time, see how you get on. He's sort of carrying his arm, and then Lawrence just comes in, whack straight on the shoulder. Like, yeah, I know your shoulder's hurt, mate. I'm going to put you out the game because you're running us ragged.
Yeah,
that's cynical. No. Yeah, but it's off the ball.
It's a violent sport.
It's a violent sport. But if he had the ball, I agree. But he didn't have the ball.
Yeah, that's why it's a yellow card. It should have been a yellow card, right? Big for that, right? But that I have less concern. I don't mind that, right? The referee got it wrong. He should have given him a yellow card. admit, but that's a bit of aggression, cynicism, whatever. I don't mind that so much, right? What I do mind is the dive. I thought that the dive was worthy of a ban. Like
going back to the first one, it's not the fact and then he laughed. He smugged. He was laughing that he'd hurt Hendy. That to me is massively unsportsmanlike, and in my opinion, it ain't going to happen. He should get a ban for that. Yeah, it's dirty playing. That's what got the fans.
Simon, you've been around longer than me. You must remember that Naughty's Tigers team and see Johnson laugh.
Yeah, but that was different. That was different. You could beat the poop out of people on the pitch back in the day. You got 50 cameras on you now. You can't do stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's why it should have been punished, right? Because they've got the cameras, they saw it happen. It should have been punished, right? I don't have
I know what you're saying, but do you not think that aiming at a player that you think's got a slight injury, going to hurt him on purpose, is bang out of order?
No, I think that's part of the game. I think that's part of the game.
I think it is part of the game, but it shouldn't be part of the game. You shouldn't be doing. I wouldn't like it if it was the absolute if it was the absolute reversal. I would be thinking the exact same way about it. I think it's a really crappy thing to do.
If the player's carrying a knock, right, where do you carry the next ball? Straight down their channel, right?
Yeah, but then
it's the same process.
It's not though, because what Lawrence did wasn't in the game of play, was it? I think that's what the key thing is.
That's why
I've got no problem targeting people, because I even thought it in the match. I thought, like, with their 7-1 split, like, you know, target specific players and specific channels, see what might happen. That's fine. But when you're going after someone out of the actual game at that point, out of play at least at that point, I think it does cross a bit of a line. But you know, it was what it was. But for me, like I said, it's more the kind of laughing because you've injured someone out of a game is a bit.
That makes it even worse. The fact
and I think it was just exacerbated because of then what happened. Happened later on. It just painted it wasn't just that one incident, was it? It painted like an overall picture of. And I don't really know a huge amount about him. Obviously, I've seen him I've obviously seen him play for England. I see him play for Bath, but I never got the impression he was like that. But there's obviously something there, because you know that was a proper laugh and a proper smug smile. So you know there's obviously an element of that to his game.
That's why Hendy was running him ragged. He was running him on that wing. He was absolutely destroying them. So he's like, oh, if I can take him out here, that's one of their weapons gone.
He also knows Hendy very well. They're long old friends, so whether there's an element of that or not, I don't know. Right? They obviously came through the academies together. Worcester, they've known each other since they were very young. But the point being is, we can agree to disagree on it, right? Because I think it's part of the game. It should have been a yellow card because of the way he went about it. He did it late.
Okay. So if it's a yellow card, it's not part of the game, is it?
Yeah, but no, they're going after someone to get them.
Well, yeah, you can get cards as.
If he's got the ball in the middle of the pitch and Lawrence targets his shoulder, that's fine. He'd lost the ball through it. He didn't have the ball. He's on the wing. He's carrying injury. Lawrence just went, I'm going to go through him here.
Yeah.
Way off the ball.
Fine. We disagree. I didn't have so much a problem with that. I did have a problem with the diving. The diving for me.
It's not something. It's why, like, I know a lot of people there's always a thing of, we're all very snobby towards football, but it's a genuine reason why I can't watch football beyond like major international tournaments, because it would just get my goat every single week. It would make me so furious. Like I said, if I saw a Saints player doing that, I'd just like, get up. Like it's just ridiculous. And it wasn't even just that it was like a disguised dive. It was like the most obvious, like he slowed down, he stopped in the middle and then just heeled over. Like, it was really bizarre.
Like I'm saying, if it's no disrespect to Ben Spencer, quality player, but if it's somebody of his stature, you think, that might have hurt him. But Ollie Lawrence, no chance in hell. That would not have hurt him at all. The way he did it is an absolute joke. He's a mug. He should be cited for both.
No, he completely dominated the collision. Mitchell was not in the right position. He was facing the wrong way. He absolutely battered him out of the way. Ran 3 or 4 paces, going, hang on. There was head-on-head contact then. Grabbed his chin and went down, right? Because he knew all that they needed was a penalty.
Yeah.
Right? And that was his match, right?
Cheated.
That
if you hear the ref thing, you hear the ref link. He said, like, they were trying. The TMO was trying to talk it down because he said actually Mitchell's pulled out, and he's then stepped to the side to miss the tackle because he knows he's not going to tackle him, and then there's still been head on head. But like I was saying to you earlier, said, what's the difference? You take the ball out of the player's hands. They're 23. I can't remember his name. Who went on? Was it Mitchell or was it Dingers?
No,
He went head on head.
it was Dingwall. It was
Dingers.
against Dingwall.
Yeah.
I can't remember the
Yeah,
23.
he went head on head. The TMO said, "Look, there's foul play here." And the ref went, "Oh no, that's an accident." Just because they didn't have the ball. Surely you still need to watch where you're going with your head.
Yeah. No,
So
I mean
that's the rule. I don't know the rule.
Yeah, that's I think that was kind of the key thing, wasn't it? It was like there's a definite inconsistency between the two of them, which is why I find it weird when you go online and you see a lot of Bath people like, oh, the ref missed so much. You know, that Saints did. I said, you're ones to talk. I said he missed stuff all over the place.
Oh my God.
He said he either missed it or he disagreed with the TMO, and he disagreed with the TMO on two pretty big occasions. With a TMO who just was sort of like, okay, you know, not much. You can't do anything as a TMO. That's not your role. But that was very clear disagreement, and I don't really see how the two of them are different enough to have had very different. It wasn't just that one was a penalty, one was a yellow card. You could maybe argue the case, but for one to get nothing and to be it was what it was. But
it's just the fact that he didn't have the ball. That I suppose that I don't know the rules inside out, but he didn't have the ball, so I'm guessing that is the only reason the ref said it was an accident. But in my opinion, how can two exactly the same collisions be deemed one as an accident and one as because he's a ball carrier? It's a yellow card and a penalty. Do you know what I mean? That just makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense because it's not application of the law, right? So there was another incident when there was head-on-head contact. There was just a penalty given, no yellow card. Yet it was clear. It was on Hutchinson. He got. I think it might have been Underhill. Altered him.
It was Underhill, yeah.
Yeah, and it was shoulder on head. You could maybe go. Well, he was sidestepping, so there's a bit of mitigation, but he just gave a penalty. It's a yellow card.
He said on the ref link, he's hit chest and ridden up. So he's come from the chest and ridden up to the head. It was still head contact. So
yeah,
what are you doing?
That's not nice. And then the other one, which was Coetzee, just come and he ran. He's obviously really eager, really keen, overran the line, right? And then basically Dingwall's going in to assist with a tackle, and Coetzee comes in from an offside position and makes head-on-head contact, right? Yeah. He obviously did himself a lot of damage. I think he took the sort of brunt of Dinger's forehead into the side of his head. Yep. So that was why he came worse off, etc. But rules are the rules, right? Reckless. Yeah, it's reckless. He's overran the ball in an uncontrolled position. He's caused head-on-head contact. Is there any mitigation? No. What mitigation is there for the head contact? He's caused it by overrunning the ball. Dingwall shouldn't be expecting a player to be entering into that tackle from an offside position, right? So Dingwall's in no position to be at fault. That's a red card. I know he went off injured, but regardless, it's a red card. But it's almost like because he hurt himself, he got off.
And they brought Barbie back on, so it's just absolute joke.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. The other thing was, on the ref link, going back to the diver, Mr. Lawrence, the Dingers went up to the ref. He said, well, hang on. If that's head-on-head and our player's gone off for a yellow card, why isn't he going off for a HIA? And the ref went, that's not my call. But if you've got head-on-head, surely you need to go off for HIA. It's head-on-head.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely questions around that, but the ref is also right. He can't
he's right. I know he's right.
That, you know, he's in a tough position of, I think afterwards he said to Dingwall, he said, I know what you're saying, as if to say, like, I agree, but I cannot. I think refs should be. I do think refs should be given the power to say I'm not comfortable that this person stays on without a check. But at the end of the day, they're not a doctor, so there's not really a lot that they can do. I mean, it has happened a couple of times. I know in one game, Luke Pearce has definitely said someone, I want this player to go off and be checked because the call hasn't come. But there's obviously been something about, you know, how they reacted or whatever. But yeah, typically speaking, like it's true. But there's not really a lot that and it's their reliance on the technology that they have, isn't it, to tell them whether it's a big hit or not, and they have to follow that to be consistent for, you know, the way that their thing works. So if it doesn't come up as a big enough impact,
I think that's why they have those gum shields on it, because Thomas did.
It's based on that. Yeah,
tight head. He came on, literally had to go off, and he's looking at the ref going, "Why am I going off for a HIA?" He said, "Oh, we've been told you need to go," and he was literally back on.
he was totally all right with it though. To be fair, he went up to the ref and said, "What is it?" He said, "It's a HO call." And he went, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay, sir." So he went off and did his business, and
that might be
he
a
came
fault.
back on. He came back on 10 minutes later.
It wasn't even 10. He literally was back 5. That's what I
And
mean.
you have to be off for a minimum of 10 minutes, I believe, for a HIA. You can't come on within 10 minutes. But I think he was back out within a few. I think they passed him pretty quick, but he had to wait until the 10-minute mark to come back on. But then obviously we had to, because Coles went off for one and didn't come back, so he obviously failed that. And then Timo, I'm not even convinced that Timo even necessarily had one. I think he was just subbed because he very obviously.
I saw the fourth official. I'm good at lip reading. He lip read to our bench. He went, number 4 has failed. I could read his lips. He didn't mention Coles. He just read it. He went 4's failed his HIA, which was clear.
Yeah, I mean, Timo was always going to, wasn't he? Yeah, exactly. Like he was walking off. He was walking off like very definitely days. So that was pretty obvious. And then obviously just a disappointment that Coles had also failed, and that was they'd hit each other, right? They'd accidentally collided with each other or something.
Yeah.
Did he fail, or did they just make a sub and leave Angus on?
I suppose at that point might have left the sub on, but I don't know. I think going back to your point when Luke Pearce has said in the past, this player's leaving. I think that's just a classic example of Luke Pearce going beyond his remit. You have to leave it to the medical staff, don't you? Like it's a farce that Lawrence didn't have to go off / head contact, but their system is in place with the stuff.
I have a feeling with the Pearce one that I think maybe something straight after that the call came down that he was going off anyway. I think it was just Pearce saying, I want this player to be checked. And then, I don't know if it was specifically that he was like, you have to leave. It's just he's obviously expressed concern before, or maybe he's tried to communicate with the doctors of, please make sure you're checking this player. If that's their way of saying, perhaps like just check the data or whatever it is on this player because of X, Y, Z. And sometimes calls don't come, and sometimes it's bizarre the way that it works sometimes though, because we've seen players sometimes have a head knock, get up, sort of stumble around a little bit, but the call never comes. And it's like, well, there must be something going on. So it's got to be a difficult thing for a ref sometimes. Like if you were seeing a player stumbling around and a call isn't coming, I can see why you, as someone in charge of that game and in charge of player welfare essentially for that 80 minutes, is not necessarily comfortable that a call hasn't come. But like you said, it's not their remit. So, the ref, there was only so much he could do really. And also, like you said, it's about kind of Lawrence barely got hit. Do you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't have failed anything anyway. But, so it's just kind of led into the whole kind of farce of it.
He just
anyway.
looked at
I think it worked. I think it worked in our favour. I think, like, ironically enough, I think if that hadn't have happened, I'm not sure we'd have won. I felt like they'd have held out, but it got their backs up. I don't think they definitely weren't impressed. And so we got going, but
that's the thing. Like they were on a line break, so if he hadn't taken the 3, they might have gone through and scored. It was like 3-on-3. We were absolutely spent. I mean,
that's what I mean though.
20 minutes, so
it was a really bizarre decision to do it, because I said, like, if you do it and then the ref decides there's nothing in it, you've just ruined the whole setup that you just put it. It was a very odd choice. He was obviously convinced that the decision was going to go a particular way, even if it was maybe just he was just thinking a penalty perhaps. But I was like, it is a bit of a risk, because you just don't know.
No, there's nothing there. It'd be scrum to Bath, because it'd be. I've got to check the welfare player. Bath in possession. Bath they get a penalty closer anyway. So. Even though, to be fair, and it's a point of note,
the scrum was interesting. The scrum felt very, very even in terms of there was no dominance. So it wasn't necessarily like a great thing. So we didn't get a lot out of it, but we also didn't lose anything out of it. It felt very much a kind of parity between the two. I think in the first half we only had like 3, I think, and the first 2 was a free kick against us for going early, and then a free kick against them for going early. So they got totally negated. I think we've more than held our own, to be honest.
I thought the scrum really held its own. I mean, Big Trev just performed sensationally throughout, didn't he? Like the work he did was tremendous. But Tom West did well, and then Tariq Afar. That's probably got to be the best scrum performance he's done for us. I mean, he went the full 40, obviously. So at about 50 minutes, they bring on a new tie head. Whenever Detoy came on, about 50th minute. So he went, 30 minutes. He went against a fresh tie head. which I don't know if you watched the Tiger, was it Tigers Exeter game at the weekend, where they changed their whole front row, even though I think it might have been it was Exeter for sure. They changed the whole front row, even though their hooker was going sensationally well. Dan Frost, he's got to be in line for a call up. He's been great this year, but Austin Healy asked him on comms, like, you know, what is the benefit of changing the whole front row when your best player on the pitch is your hooker? Why take him off as well? And the Baxter went, well, you know, because the scrum's going to be fundamentally important that we start turning the tide with the front row. So we want the fresh players on, and that's going to make it. And it won them the game. It really
100%. 100%. I think I did see the game, and I think even Healy at the end very much admitted that, because I think it was actually it was genuinely a good, you know, I'm not his biggest fan in terms of Healy, but it was a good argument of why would you do that then? But like you said, they know something that he doesn't, because at the end of the day, he's not their coach. So, you know, he knew what he was doing.
Thing, though, isn't it? They did that. I know they were getting battered by us, but they did that at our place. They literally, at half time, they swapped the front row. They were getting mullered, I do agree, but it might just be something they do. Because just to
maybe, yeah.
No offense to him, he's a big unit, like Ethan Painter, where was that? He's a big lad. Can he play 80 minutes? I don't think he can, but he's an absolute powerhouse. So maybe 40 and 40.
It's like something that they do with South Africa do it a lot with Khaleesi. He comes off at like 50, 55 minutes. I was like, have you lost your mind? And then it doesn't. And then they've won 2 World Cups despite doing it anyway. Like, they always seem to bring him off, and I'm like, why would you? But you know, they see something in the replacements, or they've noticed something in the game, and you know, that's just the way that it goes. But
South Africa got 3 international sides. That's why it's there.
Yeah.
It's almost like I don't know if either of you, if Formula One, or if the listeners watch Formula One or whatever, but there's an aspect of tactical in that where it comes to your tyre delta. So you know, at the end of the race, you know, you might be on fresh. You know, you might have both be on medium tyres, but you've got 5. Your tyres are 5 laps newer, right? And so therefore you get the advantage. You catch up. They call it the tyre delta, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what it's like with front row. You know, so if you'll put Tarek Afar on at 40, and he plays for 10 minutes, and then you bring the tired on, he's got like 10 minutes of tyre delta on his opponent.
Yeah, I get it.
But like I've said, to be fair, Afar was fantastic. He really stood up in the set piece.
It was.
Who else stood out for you?
Dingers, as always. Ram, it's great to see Rambo back, because I love that boy. He's just amazing.
Yeah.
Hendy was amazing for 38 minutes till he got.
Yeah. For the time he was, yeah. Although I think I said this about him last week. Was it him who missed a tackle out wide for Cockanasinger's try, and it was a bad miss?
Yeah. I would agree.
It was a bad miss.
I would
no.
He's
massive, but he didn't even get a hand on him. Like, he judged it all wrong. He wasn't in the position he needed to be to make the tackle. He left too much space, essentially.
Too flat in the line.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're having to essentially turn to try and make a tackle on Joe, you've lost already. Like, you know, it's not going to happen. So yeah, he's always a strange one defensively. He either makes fantastic defensive reads or awful ones. There's no middle ground for George. But no, he's ridiculous, isn't he? It's like I said, his legs are on backwards. It makes him do crazy things. Like,
I think, you know, to be fair to Hendy in that instant with that tackle on Cockanasinga is one, he was maybe a little flat, a little too narrow, and he had to therefore gave himself so much to do to get out to Cockanasinga. But the one thing I would say is the reason he was too narrow and too flat is he didn't have a chance to move, because we're going back to what we were saying earlier. There was a Finn Russell pass in that was just insane. It was like a 2-man cutout pass that put them on the outside, and therefore we were always on too far on the inside, and it's just, you know, you take 30 milliseconds away from Hendy not to get right, you know, to take
not to get right, yeah.
And it that's those moments, those miniature moments that, yeah, they look okay, they look great, whatever, but they actually have huge impact on that sort of taking that space in that attacking motion.
I think
he was trying to wind the fans up as well, wasn't he? I had no issue with every conversion. The thing was, because he didn't put the ball on the tee, he was just leaving it and drinking. It's like they're all booing him. It's like, he's allowed his time. Didn't you guys say it's 60 seconds now?
It's 90.
It's still 90.
It's 90 for a
conversion.
One of them.
Yeah.
and 65th.
They were
Yeah,
supposed
but
to
But like,
bring it
I
down.
don't,
it's
I don't,
changing
I don't.
mid-season, by the way. That is
Okay.
changing.
Yeah, it's a weird thing of it's a weird
I
thing
swear
of
we were
changing.
talking about it a few weeks ago, and I was like, "It's still 90," and you were like, "No," I swear, because I actually looked, because they scored a try, he got the ball within 10 seconds, and he just stood there for 50 seconds with the ball on the floor, drinking his drink, and the crowd was just like, "He's got 90 seconds."
They're just, I think
Why
it's
are you
just,
booing him?
I think it was a game of, because we all knew it was a must-win game. It's like a repeat of the final, and then first round they smashed us, and they're first and we're eighth, and so the crowd get really into it. But I'm just like, you can take what, and like they did it with their nine. Every time their nine was told to use it, and he didn't immediately. And I was like, have you seen Alex Mitchell? He's the worst for it. He's one of the worst for it in terms of taking time. Like he gets turned over by refs probably more than any of the others because they've gotten bored of waiting for him. I was like, you can't boo Spencer and then think that the sun shines out of Mitchell's backside all the time. Like they're both very similar in that they always take longer. But it's just the atmosphere, wasn't it? I don't mind that necessarily. Like kind of jeering at him, trying to like use it or whatever. Like I don't really mind that. But I didn't like the booing when he was taking the penalty for Mitchell's yellow. I was like, what are you doing? And all the shouting of like, you don't know what you're doing. I was like, let's just leave that in football. We don't need that kind of,
I'm not trying to badmouth certain. It's not a majority. It's a few. But when you win when you win the title, and it's happened to us 10 years ago as well, you get sellouts. And you'll get people going that are football fans. It's not a diss. You get football fans who go, oh, let's go and watch this rugby. Then they'll start like going, oh, then they're cheating. They start doing like football chants. The problem is when you start booing, normal fans that go week in, week out say, yeah, they're right. That's why I was sat there shaking my head going, what are we doing?
Yeah, everybody was booing around me, and I was just like, I was like, I also thought it was like, you do all realise that Finn Russell played in France, and the one thing that they do when they step up to take their kicks is make every noise imaginable. He doesn't care. It's not doing what you think it's doing. Like,
Look, I agree though. Like, we shouldn't be booing. There's no doubts about that, right? But then when you look at it, and it's that instance where people were disgusted by the actions of Lawrence, like the sort of the spirit of the game was
totally agree. But it's still a yellow card and a penalty, even if he did dive. He's still head on head, so I'm not defending it. So it's still a penalty. It wasn't Finn Russell that did it. So don't boo him because he's not arrogant in a bad way. He is so good. He would be like, "You're not booing me. I'll slip this over with a back heel." That's how good he is. He would literally just thrive on that. And there was no way he was missing that kick with all that booing. Not a chance. So all you're doing is fueling his ego.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I do agree.
I think we had a few like errors in there, but we were still I still think Hutchinson's performance overall was really good. But one of his kicks set up a try, and the same. And I think Freeman had an off game for Freeman, which is not necessarily an off game because he's ridiculous, but he wasn't at the level, and he also let a try in with a kick through that was never on. Both times they were never ever on.
I did fear about the Hutchinson.
And like you said, it's just. But there was also one pass, and everyone will have to forgive me because I can't think of what try it was in the lead up for. But one of his passes was just absolutely out of this world. I think I've said it before. I think I said it actually not on the podcast, on Twitter. I maintain he's one of the best passers of the ball in rugby at the moment. It was ridiculous.
He's got to be the most underrated centre in the Prem, I think, because he doesn't get recognition in Scotland because their two centres are just quality as well.
It's hard for him.
His ability to manipulate space and create space and then pull the trigger with a passing is second to none. And he had an excellent game other than the charge.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think the performance was really good other than that. Yeah.
I felt for him because afterwards, after he'd done that, you could see he was chasing it just to I've just stepped up. I need to do everything. So he tried to get his hands on the ball, run through everybody, pass to anybody. So yeah, unfortunately, any day in any job, we all mess up. Unfortunately, on a rugby pitch, it just looks bad.
I feel like for him and Freeman, you just want to say leave the kick throughs to Finn, because when he did that beautiful one that he caught, kicked it through, caught it with 3 Bath players around him. Yeah, I was just like, leave it to him because he's lush.
It's just one of them. That's
what I mean. His kick through is just that part of his game is ridiculous. But I was just like,
I don't know.
don't you guys try, leave it to him.
It's a panic, isn't it? It's a panic. You're there, you're standing there.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah,
I saw. You're like, crap, I need to kick this, get this off the pitch, and then it's just.
I saw why they both felt it was the call in that moment. It just went wrong both times.
The Hutchinson one was a set play that we've done. We do numerous times. It's similar to the one that I think it was against Bristol last year when it dropped back to Furbank. He cross kicked to Lichfield and they went up the pitch. Right, it was a set play at Hutchins, but the thing is, Barford rushed the line and read it, so they sort of went through. You know, he should have in that moment gone, "Hang on, there's a risk here. Put it under the arm, step, do something different." But he went through with the play and they got charged down. Whereas the Freeman one was pure panic because he was at the wrong angle. He's clearly got no left foot, right? So he went to kick with his right foot at all the wrong angle, trying to basically slice it off his right foot so it goes to the right angle rather than trying to like lob it with his left foot and probably miss it. But then because he's done that, he's just skew whiffed it. It's gone nowhere, and then they score off the back of that, right? So it's two individual errors in moments, but that's the sort of game we play, isn't it? You put them in the position to make the decisions. It's funny though.
They
failed in those moments.
I'm going to say something that maybe people might agree with or might not, but like, I actually think that we're going to benefit more from that being a really close game in the end. Because when we were 19-0 up, I thought if we steamroll them, it basically just becomes another example. And there's been many of them this season for kind of all teams of they were just off the pace for that particular day. You know, like the weekend before with Bath putting 68 points on Saris or such and such putting 40 points on these that you wouldn't expect it, whatever. I actually think it's, that then becomes almost a game of, well, we won by a lot of points because Bath didn't turn up. So there's actually a part of me that thinks it's a really good thing for us moving forward that Bath did turn up and we still ground out that win. Like we ground that out and it was ugly and it was fantastic because it was ugly. And I actually think they're going to I honestly genuinely think they take a lot more from that being a 1-point victory than if we'd just continued to steamroll them.
Yeah, I was never thinking they weren't going to turn up.
No, but when you think you get 19 points up in 13 minutes, and I thought this is just going to be another example of, for whatever reason, Bath haven't turned up today. It could be ugly. So I'm actually, and I'm not saying I thought that was going to happen, but I just thought if it had have happened, I think it really would have been a case of, well, every team this season has had at least one game where they've lost dramatically when it wasn't perhaps expected, and it just gets written off as another example of that. So actually, I think us winning with the last kick of the game, Finn, last kick of the game, last seconds of the game to win by a point. I actually think grinding that out, being able to win like that is going to be 100 times more beneficial for the team moving forward, because now they know, no, we didn't beat Bath because Bath didn't show up. We beat Bath even though Bath did show up. We beat the league leaders when we're 7 points below them, 7 league places, below them. Like, I think that's going to be really, really important, that it either makes our season or it doesn't. Like, it's as simple as that, really.
I fully agree, right? And I think I've said this already this season, in the sense of, like, this is a brand new team, right? They've got, there's a lot of leadership, a lot of talent left the squad. It's a brand new team. Last year, they had lots of those moments through the season where they just managed to win, right? And that breeds confidence. Doesn't matter what the score is, we're going to win this game because we know we can, because we've done it before. As soon as you sort of draw the line on the sand and start again, you need to have those moments within that squad again to build that confidence, to build that sort of belief that, yeah, we can win this. We know how to win games. We've done this before. We've been here before. We'll do it again. Like, you have to do it. So I couldn't agree more that being a game where the game went backwards and forwards and they grasped it at the end is going to do them the world of good to really get that belief again.
That roar at the end, that's going to circle the penny. That was intense, absolutely mental. But it was, I know what Jess is saying. I don't mean to say it, she wasn't expecting that. But at 19-0, I wasn't like, oh, we're going to absolutely batter them. I was thinking,
oh, God, no.
They're going to score.
No.
They're going to score.
I didn't think so. But then I also look back at some of the results, and I was like, honestly, the way this season has been, I was like, it was possible. Yeah, it wasn't out of the realms of, some of the scores that we've seen, some of the, teams that are being nilled at home that you wouldn't have expected when they've put X amount of points. Like, the season is crazy. I don't think it's at all predictable. We're now literally, I know we're still 8th, and that sounds really bad, but we're, I think, within a win of being in the top 6 and not that far off of being like, it's so unpredictable the way that this is going to go. So I'm not saying that I actually thought that we were going to I genuinely didn't, even at 19-0 up, but I also thought there's a part of me in my head that was like, there's a chance it could happen because everything that you think is going to happen has been thrown out of the window with this season. So I'm just saying I'm glad, ironically glad, as much as you'd love to sit there and beat Bath really easily, weirdly I'm actually kind of glad that we didn't, because I don't think that would have benefited us as much as grinding a 1-point win over, you know, the leaders. I know they took 2 points away, so you know they're as happy as they can be for losing on the road, I suppose, taking 2, but we're not. I still think we've got a shot for top 6, maybe even pushing a bit higher, but we're not top 1. So, you know, them getting 2 points meant nothing to them. I really don't think Saints cared about that at all. But yeah, no, I just think, like you said, it's going into Europe as well, when we've got 2 big matches coming up. You want to get the top of your table with 4 out of 4 wins. I just think that momentum should be huge.
Yeah, we're 5 points off 5th, with that win. The point being, as you said, like, as well, like, you want those games as a fan anyway. Like, you don't really go there and watch Saints. I mean, yes, you do. You want to go there and watch Saints batter Newcastle and like they did Gloucester. You're like, yeah, that's good and everything, but they're not the games you remember. They're not the games you think back to and go, wow, that really got the heart going. What a fantastic environment. The crowd get up. You know, when it's 90-0, the crowd most of them had too many beers because all they've done is gone, oh, we may as well go get another beer because there's nothing else happening, sort of thing. Whereas when it's that game and it's amazing, the crowd is gripped. That's the rugby's at the centre stage, and that's what it always should be. But so in seasons when we're not going to win the league, like potentially this year, I think that's probably the case. You look at every game almost as its own thing, just as its own fixture, its own contest, and that might be the best of the year. Yeah, that's what I'm.
I did say that. I said that is our biggest fixture of the season, I think, and it probably will be. But like, when you're 4 tries up against the team in 20 minutes, wherever it is, you normally go, we're going to absolutely piss this. But I was like, it's Bath. They've got Finn Russell. They've got like Cock and Singing. They've got some world-class talent. I was like, yeah. I went there thinking we hopefully might win, but Bath might edge it. And then we absolutely come out the blocks. I was like, oh my God. But I just feared. I was like, they're just going to get really pissed off. Excuse me for swearing. And they're going to go back at us. And then I actually thought we deserved it overall. I think the score was a bit close. I think we deserved it a bit more than they did.
I feel like as well, I feel like if you think about the points that were missed, I think Finn Russell missed 3 and our Finn definitely missed 8 because he missed 2 penalties and he missed a conversion. So it would have made the gap maybe a tiny little
I reckon
I still would have been close by my definition.
Yeah.
But it honestly feels a little bit, not quite like the final, but it also felt like after that first 20, I felt like we were second best for a while. Like we managed to stick in it, and that was the important thing. We got enough of a lead. We got enough of a lead with that 19 points. But like, I honestly felt like we played better for less time than they did, and we still came away with the win.
After 20 minutes, they were dominant. They physically got on top of us after 20 minutes, and we were like moments of magic were getting us through that game, whether that be in defence or in attack. Like whereas they had sort of prolonged spells of possession and dominance and momentum. It was like I said, defence for periods of that game. Big defensive moments, which isn't really our thing either, but it was just tremendous.
Reed's never, no offence to him, he's never going to live that down. He's not a little lad, is he? But a little fly half, absolutely poleaxing you and lifting you up and moving you about 5 to 6 meters up the pitch and defending our line. He'd be like, oh my God. I thought it was Dingers, or I thought it was Freeman at first because he's a massive player. I was like, that was thin.
You just know as well that Miles Reed's going to go into the review on Monday like, please don't show it, and you know they will. They will just because you know you want to, you know. It's also a way sometimes probably of fostering camaraderie within your team of like, look at our teammate absolutely smashed by a little 10. You know what I mean? Like it would be funny. But I think we always sleep a little bit on Smith's defensive abilities. I actually think they're really good.
He does worry.
I'm not saying us three. I don't think we do. I just think generally speaking, you know, all the talk is about, understandably, about, you know, his kicking game and his passing game. I'm like, you watch what he does in defence. Honestly, he's so complete. And I know because I know we've been interested in him, hadn't we, before Worcester collapsed. I think we were
He
looking
was
to
signing.
sign him anyway.
He was
Yeah,
signing.
signing anyway, wasn't he? And I think I read somewhere that it was basically Dan Bigger had told them after he'd played against him, like, this is someone you need to look for. He's a really, really complete player considering his age. But yeah, no, he's just, yeah, I think he's fantastic.
Because Vesti found him for Worcester when Vesti was at Worcester. So Vesti knew him coming through the system when he was a coach at Worcester. And then when he came across, he was like, this is the next 10. We need to get him.
Yeah.
A few of the boys at Worcester, because Vesti knew them coming through the system.
It was a nice touch, wasn't it? Because we absolutely battered Worcester, and he was playing. I don't know if he started. Did he start that game?
He did. He started as like 18-year-old.
And Dan was literally there afterwards talking to him, like giving him a good pat on the back. Like, lad, come on, it's all right, it's your first like big start. But my only worry is absolutely immense. I just don't want him to be another Johnny, because Johnny Wilkinson was a defensive machine as well. And look how many injuries he got. Just let your big boys do the tackling. You stand back and do the pretty stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need to be tackling sevens and throwing them up the pitch. That's not for your. That's not your job.
Johnny's shoulder pads just got bigger and bigger, didn't they, every year?
Exactly, yeah, because he mullered himself.
But the other thing, to move on to maybe one last comment. One thing I would say, which I thought went really, really well, right? And if you think back to the autumn series with Australia with Joseph Suwale, where they did those short, completable down the middle kickoffs. Right, and we opened the game against Bath with it. Finn Smith, fantastic little closed skill, gets a lovely little ball up, just landing just sort of on the line, and Hendy knocked it back, right? But I think Hendy and Ram are such phenomenal athletes to get up and compete. All they have to do is get one hand up and knock it back. Like that should be our go-to start.
I've been saying this for 20 years. Saints always. Myler did it because he's told to. We always hoof it in their 22. You can kick it 10 meters. It gives your lads. You kick it high enough, they're quick enough. They can run there and win it back. What's the point?
Especially now with that new rule of I don't know the way it's worded or what it is, but the whole thing about not obstructing. It's not necessarily from kickoffs at like kicking the game back off, but the whole thing of you have to allow the space to compete. And so now, like you said, it allows for the ability to you can compete in a way that you don't have to catch the ball. You have the ability to slap it back because you're not worrying about other people around you. So that's what the whole point of it is. You get a point scored against you and you're trying to compete to get the ball back. So why kick it 20, 30 meters? Kick it 10. I mean, sometimes I get it. Like if the game is close, sometimes you hoof it back. Like let's say there's a minute and a half left and you're winning by a couple of points, you're going to get them as far back as you possibly can. But I do agree. I think sometimes in the middle of games, I'm like, you can make it a bit more of a competition if you wanted to.
I mean, obviously, you can kick it 20 in the air, but 10 that way. That's fine. You can get players.
The mindset is you kick long, you chase hard. You set them a ruck, on their 5, for example. They then have to kick away and kick it back to you. So you try and get as far. If they kick it out on the 22, you're then attacking in their 22. So obviously the mindset normally is to put as much pressure on them, kick it to them, get much pressure on them because they're gonna kick it back to you. Most of the time, it sort of nullifies itself and a restart ends up being a line out on the halfway line. So the ball kick like that's what happens 99% of the time. But if you put more pressure on them, you might get into their 10. If it's a great kick, they might get into your 10, whatever. But that kick to compete down the middle, what's the worst outcome? You don't win the ball, they win the ball on their 10-meter line. Right? What are they going to do? Attack? No, they're going to kick you the ball. You've got nothing to lose. You may as well go for that. And the thing is, get those knockbacks. If you're the one winning it, you've got broken field. They've not got a defense set. It's a complete broken field, and if you're alive to it,
we've always kicked it long. Just no tat. It's just like oof it forward.
Well, like you said, it's just like the de facto thing that all tens do, isn't it? It's like
not all tens. I remember Carlos doing a little grubber through once, and he actually caught it himself.
Finn Smith did that. Finn Smith did that once, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He ran up to the line and he grubbed it through, and then we scored. And I was like,
have to go in the air as long as it goes 10 meters. It doesn't matter.
he just caught them completely napping. Well, not even napping. It's just usually people are slow to head back to the line,
Yeah.
and
They're all waiting
he caught
25 meters back, waiting for a long ball. You kick it through, no one's there. Cheers, mate. And then you got the ball back.
Yeah. They keep him guessing. It was the same with the restart. You know, when he against the last week where he took the quick one and they weren't ready for it, etc. You know, it is a live part of the game, and they probably need to consider it. But obviously, your standards always go hit to around the 22, good pressure, try and get the ball back from the line out. But keeping alive to those things, and like not back to Truckee. Truckee's running full steam at them, all broken field. I mean, I thought he was just going to run through and score. I
felt sorry for him. He took every contact. Every time we won the ball back, he's like, "Yeah, mate, you go." He must have took so many hits that game. He was our go-to.
I mean, I'm not a professional rugby player, so this is probably why. But Jesus, if he was running at me full pelt, I'd just be like, "Go."
Nah.
I don't want to. I don't want to engage. I just be like,
just shut your eyes, bend down, and just.
You're welcome. Yeah, just like you're welcome. Take the space. Like,
I mean, that's what we're going to lose when we lose Truckee, because or Gus, whatever. That's his game, isn't it? He makes yards by consistent work and getting through the tough stuff. That's his game. You know, he carries a lot, makes yards, and then he has those moments of explosion. I think his defensive game's got better this year than it has been previously, but he seems to be more involved in everything. But we're going to miss that for sure. He gets through a lot of yardage. But anyway, we've I think we've covered off that game.
Paris.
The reason why we've talked about it was because it was such a phenomenal game. But allez.
Le Paris.
Paris.
I mean, it's another moment in the season when it's gonna just what a joy that's gonna be. I mean, I think you are as well, Jess, but I'm lucky enough to be going for the experience. I don't know, Simon. Loads to watch away games, but they are what rugby's all about, aren't they? These.
Oh God, yeah.
The
it's not like I've
been
there. I've literally, I've been in France so many times. It's not like I'm going, oh, I wish I could go now, but so close to Christmas, I just like, nah. But it should be an amazing trip. I've been Paris about 20 times.
See, I've been to Paris once, but not really, because apparently Disneyland Paris is not quite in Paris. So I've not really technically been to Paris. So this is my first time. So we're going from Friday to Monday, and like we're going on the Eurostar. Never been on the Eurostar. And then first day, it's like Eiffel Tower, Arc de Triomphe. And then before the game, it's like we're going to the Louvre. So it's, we're doing all of the sightseeing stuff in between. But I've been waiting for Paris. That's all I've wanted. I didn't care what team it was, because I know there's a couple in Paris. I was like, I just want Paris.
You're not driving over there.
No. We're Eurostarring. No.
Don't go around the Arc de Triomphe. My God, that is just mental.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no. I don't even really like driving, generally speaking, but I would never drive in a foreign country. No. We're off on the Eurostar. Because normally we fly. It's not my favourite method of travel. So when it was Paris, I was like, how about we do the Eurostar? And so we're off on the Eurostar.
But
so we're off on Friday.
It's the only thing is it's the only bad thing, and it's becoming a running joke with me and my missus, is that it's always obviously part of the rugby season, so it's midwinter. So we went to took us to Limerick for a trip away. Rugby season, pinning it down and it's cold. Same with France. We've got like storms on at the moment. Taking it to Paris.
You mentioned Limerick. They just announced today that the Munster game sold out as well. So the week after.
I'd have been surprised if it wasn't.
They're really selling out a lot of grounds now, which is the show's a sign of success, because last few years, before sort of halfway through last season, for a few years before, that wasn't the case, was it? There were thousands short at least.
It's success, isn't it? It happened when we won it 10 years ago. Season tickets sold out, the crowds are full up. So as long as you're playing entertaining rugby, you'll fill up the stadium.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with that is people follow. We'll get on to the Paris. We better look at the game in a minute. But the thing with that is the people follow winning teams, right? So they'll win, but you need to keep them by getting them into the game. How many people at the game come and just like the fact that Saints are winning, don't have a clue what's going on, right? You've got to convert them into fans who love watching the game regardless of the result. But that's for him. No. So, what do we think about the weekend? How do we think that's going to go?
I've not watched any French rugby for.
No, neither have I. But I did watch. Was it Sarries that beat them away?
With the red card, yeah.
They did have a red card, granted. But then I also looked at the top 14 table earlier, and they are 13th out of 14. So it's as good a chance as you've got, really. You've got a Stade Francais team that are obviously not playing as well as they would probably like. So yeah, you've literally got as good a chance of any as any really at this point. Yeah. Otherwise, I know nothing about them if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah,
Where are they playing?
it's the Stade Juan, whatever it's called.
Okay.
Stade Shan. I'm not gonna butcher French.
Joan
It's
Boone.
Jean. It's Jean Boone.
Yeah.
Which would be amazing.
I'm assuming.
Fluorescent pink everywhere. It's going to be and they put on a show.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Pink and
that's
green.
the thing with the French teams is they normally they lose a lot away, but they normally always win their home games. It's like a fierce thing for them. They have to win at home.
Yeah.
Often that league is they all win the home games and they send second string teams away because it's not worth the risk. Sort of. But
it says here that they've played 14 in the top 14 games so far and Stade have won 5, so they must have lost some at home as well.
Yeah, exactly. They have been losing games at home. They lost at home last week, I think. But the problem is, I think then they can almost go, well, the league's gone. I know there's been relegation and stuff like that, but they can focus, and they can see this as a real turning point in their season. There's a lot of talent in that side. That's for damn sure. And I think that's my biggest concern, because on paper it's looking like it should be a win for Saints. They'll go with confidence and stuff, but
you don't win a game on paper. You win it on grass.
Paper, and the emotions of them trying to turn around their season, focusing on Europe because the league's maybe one step too far for them this year. That would be my.
But I mean, you could also argue that we're still trying to do the same thing, right? Like that Bath win on its own is not enough to say we've turned the corner this season. Like we've got to follow it up, right? So I feel like we're also going in with the same thing of, particularly as how well we did in Europe last year. I think there's a real hunger there to, at the very least, get that 4 out of 4 wins. Who knows? I mean, anything could happen really. I would still say that there's enough confidence there for me that I feel like we could and should win. But yeah, like I said, you never know what's going to happen in France. I mean, I have seen us win away in France. I was before COVID. I was at the away game in Lyon when we won right at the end with Ferbs in the corner. So this team and members of this team have done that. They have beaten French teams on the road. So there's definitely going to be some confidence in there, and no doubt that they can do it. But yeah.
You'll both have amazing time. French trips away were my favourite. Their fans, even if they lose, their fans are amazing. They'll just buy you beer or whatever for the rest of the night.
Oh yeah, they were so nice, and they were really nice in Lyon. Even though it's not a massive English speaking place. I know that Paris is going to be very different. It's probably going to be a lot of people that can speak English as the language. But yeah, no, it should be good.
Yeah, it should be. I'm hoping as well. Quite an open, flowing game of rugby. Stade Francais are a jouet team. Look at.
We love a jouet.
They've got Carbonet, they've got Merchant, they've got who's the French winger? They've got can't think of his name off the top of my head, but they've got an international French winger who's sensational as well. So a lot of sort of Pacific Islanders as well. So a bit of jouet from the Pacific Islands. It's it has the makings of what could just be a phenomenal game at least. And it's also worth noting they've got young Juan Martin Scelzo, son of Martin Scelzo, who actually won the Heineken Cup with Saints. I said it before, there is something in the water in Northampton, because how many current professional players' fathers have played for the club? It's like 15 current professionals. It's ridiculous. You got young Spencer as well, just signed for the rugby union in New Zealand. Josh Lord, it's not just like not local boys. It's like people from Pete Jacobson's son plays for Australia. They've got they came here, obviously had a bit of Northamptonshire water and went home and created internationals.
Did you mean Jorgensen?
Jorgensen, yeah. Pete Jorgensen was it, and then his son plays for Australia.
Yeah.
Scored a pretty good winner this year at Twickenham. I don't know if you remember. Yeah.
I don't know. You plastic Aussie fans, eh?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, predictions.
I have no idea about their team. So I usually watch the French rugby, but I haven't. I'm just going to go 18-31. Yep. Saints going to be on a high. they're going to want to go out there. And
yeah,
I don't know.
no, I was going to go big as well, to be fair, but I don't know enough about Stad, so I'm just going to assume if there's Jouet, then there'll be some Jouet, so they should get some points. 42-21. I don't know.
21,
No, sorry, other way around. But the other, yeah, you know what?
21-42.
There you go, 21-42.
I'll be a bit tighter than that. I think. I don't think we rock up to France and they get the dancing girls out and the pink pom poms out and we just roll them over. I think it'll be 32-36. I think it'll be a high scoring left right sort of game. But
Honestly, I'm literally plucking numbers out of thin air. Like I went close with Bath because I was like, if we win, it will be close, and we were all right with that. But I don't know anything about this.
I think it's one of those things as well. You got to realise with Saints, we don't win easy. Even if we're supposed to win, we win with flair and win with a crash of a last minute win or whatever. So I take it
we'll go full strength. Near enough similar team that played weekend. I know we haven't got time to talk about the team now because we're overrun by a long shot.
I mean, it's also depending on who isn't going to be available because of
Hendy won't be.
Hendy won't because I'm pretty confident that got knocked out of its socket by what it looked like. And then
Ollie Lawrence.
Timo won't be because he's going to be going through the return to play protocol. So I'd be surprised if he was, because it's a 6-day turnaround, isn't it? And they've got to leave before because it's Sunday to Saturday. So he'll just be out of the running for that. And then obviously if Cole's failed, there's every possibility he is out of the running for that as well. So there are some people missing, but they'll be I still think it's going to be outside of them two. It's probably going to look exactly what it looked like. Maybe some. I mean, is Iogan injured?
Yeah, I think Iogan's still struggling from, and I don't think it was as bad as first four, but still struggling from the Saracens injury.
And then all I know is Ollie pulled out with his hamstring. Whether he's done something to it or he just strained it slightly and they didn't want to risk it, I don't know because they didn't give any more deets. So that would depend. But going off the assumption that a hamstring is normally not something you want to mess with, and so maybe he won't be playing this weekend. Yeah, I'd say you pretty much have it. You'd have it where it is, wouldn't you? So like Seabrook, for example, will have to be involved just because we aren't going to have Hendy now, and so Ram is going to have to be your 15 because that's that's all we have. So
yeah, it shows that we're getting to the point of we're stretched in a few positions. Obviously, second row, like you said there, Coles is out and Timo. Then I know Callum Hunter-Hill was training.
Yeah.
But it's a big game to push him into. I mean, Munga hopefully is fit, and then obviously big game European match. It must be Tom Lockett. And then in the backs, the back three, like I said, if Hendy's out with Furbank out as well, you've
got to have Ram.
You've got Seabrook.
Yeah, you've got to have
stretched.
It's Seabrook and it will be Seabrook and Freeman, won't it?
Yeah, unless Litchfield, maybe they play Litchfield on the wing. He has done that before. It's an option. So. Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to predict the sit team this week because I think there are quite a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, definitely.
The only thing I would say that I would 100% do is start Pollock. Just because
that guy will scrap his way to anything. Like
I also think French rugby is that's going to be made for him, where it's all a bit uncoordinated. There's a few gaps you wouldn't always get in the Premiership. It's a bit less structured, bit one-on-one brutal contest. Please play him because that would be the whole time. But we shall see. But anyway, thanks everyone much for listening. Please remember to give us feedback and get in contact with us and let us know how we're doing. But otherwise, bon voyage to Paris. And we will see you next week. I've been Charles McGilvray. Jess has been Jess. Simon's been Simon. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.